us about the health department commissioner resigning.
Yeah, so I tell you, Ron Durbin, who's probably the preeminent lawyer fighting for medical marijuana law and implementation of the program, he realized that, you know what, they weren't trying to make this work. The communication had fallen off the rails. So he keeps reaching out to the commissioner. Yes, he even has to file a lawsuit to stop part of the implementation because it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. When they're just going to give out, say, here's the list of people who have medical conditions for which their doctors think they should take marijuana. Police department, you should know who these people are.
How's that a violation?
Yeah.
If they have nothing to fear, or nothing to hide.
If they have no weed to hide, we care if we smoke.
So that aside, we're
They
trying.
shouldn't be afraid for their person, property, or
What a
their
bunch of weirdos.
So
I want their names now.
Couple weeks ago, finally I called Representative Scott Fettgatter, who's invested so much of himself into making this industry work. And, he said,
Can we call him Kingpin from now on?
Yeah. I don't know. I've called him a lot of things. I should not come up with any more names. So Scott's been good on this. And so, Scott said, I've done my best. I called Tom there, the Commissioner Bates over at the health department. He told me this, and I disseminate as best I can. People are still worked up. And I said, Scott, you don't officially speak for the agency. The agency can still do whatever they want. And they say, we never announced anything.
Right.
And then they make you look bad, Scott. You got to tell them. So he said, well, I've got a conference call with them in an hour. I'll bring it up then. And I called him back after that. He says, well, I asked. We'll see. He said, we're going to talk again on Tuesday. And, he passed out the rumor. He says, Dave, he may be leaving the health department to take another position.
This is Bates.
Tom Bates, the commissioner of the Department of Health. So Tuesday, we're already ramping up this. We're going to go march on the health department, which is headquarters for the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. That is under the health department.
And you're marching in protest.
In protest, the fact that they are not finding a way that all these businesses invested 6-7 figures.
In other words, simply protecting our rights. They're trying to figure out a way that they can violate.
But I want to be
people.
specific here. There was a process for renewing your license to be a grower, processor, or dispensary. Oldham loves this.
Totally legitimate constitutional process.
We will now stop for 2 seconds for Oldham
moment
to
of
say,
silence.
for Oldham to say, I told you so. Yes. So anyway, because it's not a right when you have to get a license, isn't that right?
That's correct.
That's it.
You have the right. They have violated the right.
Right. So we're just trying to find a way these guys can, keep doing business without police raiding, taking their whole inventory.
Right.
So they got to renew their licenses.
Oh, that's just to protect them. And to serve them.
Let me tell you, this is
And
not
keep the
about
community
protecting anybody.
Are the dispensaries right now unable to do business, or are they just under threat of potential legal action?
Yes.
They can be shut down. Since then, we have found 4 different versions of a policy for which they're giving a grace period. Every one of those 4 uses different wording, some of it very much in contradiction to the other of the 4 statements.
Right.
And they're
coming from 4 different places in the
department,
health department.
the OMMA,
Government at its finest.
yes, that agency overseeing it. On one of them, it says you've got to submit your renewal by your expiration date of your license. The next one says, well, we're going to give you 30 days after your license expires for you to renew. And then, there's another one that says you have up to 90 days after you put it in before we're even going to tell you whether you got your license, but you can still run your shop for 90 days.
This is still sounding like public schools to me. It's like, I've got my project ready, but all the other students don't have their ready, so I'm going to give you another week to do your project.
Remember, it sounds like the mafia and their protection programs, and whether or not they give you a grace period to hand them the paper sack full of money.
Yeah,
because that's exactly what it is.
And there's not much difference
And good
between
on them for
government
doing that.
agencies and mafia.
Thank you, Don.
None.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So
Just trying to raise your social score.
So here's the deal. We went down there, and we're getting ready for the march, and the attorney Ron Durbin says, Dave, did you hear the news? Is what? He says, Tom Bates just resigned. Stitt's going to put him over in some new agency. And get this, he is going to be the commissioner of the agency on government transparency. Oh my God!
This is going to be fun because now we have a known violator of transparency, heading transparency. And so what do we as the people need to do? We need to force the transparency. Yeah. We need to keep him honest because we can make him resign from that just as fast as any of the others.
Where do the folks find their pitchforks and torches at?
Yeah. You know,
I would repository.
Atwood's, Osh. There's several of them, but I think it's high time.
Machetes.
You can always get the torches, to keep the bugs away.
Okay.
We can always
tar and butters.
So I got to tell you, they announced who's going to take over, and it's the guy running the county health department for Oklahoma County, an attorney. He used to be a law school professor up here at TU Law School, Gary Cox. And so we're like, okay, so we get social media. Gary Cox, come on down. We want to meet you. Reception here on the front lawn. We got about 300 advocates for medical marijuana.
Wow.
Come on here. No show. So we're, getting ready to do something, and a whole, this 3 or 4 people from the health department come outside the door, and they're just watching us. So I break away from the pack, and I go over, and I said, hi. I says, is this bothering you guys? And he said, no, they wouldn't hardly talk to me. Eventually, they kind of opened up and stuff, and they said, well, we don't want to be on camera or anything, and they said, we're just, here to
I hope somebody got them from a distance.
Oh, my God.
I need to be on camera.
There's better than that coming.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, anyway, eventually, I said, okay, here's what Ron Durbin and attorney Rachel Bassett, Simcoe, and the others are saying, because I already knew what was the program. And I kind of gave them the headline. And then I said, okay, they're getting ready to come over here and ask you this, just so you know. So I'm trying to give them a heads up. I'm trying to build rapport, and like, okay. Right. And so eventually they come over, and then the head of security comes to the front, and he said, well, Tom Bates isn't in the building. He's not here. Okay, well, we want to see the director of the OMMA, Adrienne Rollins. Oh no, she's in meetings all day. She's busy. She's in meetings. And like,
those are meetings.
Yes, meetings. Yeah.
Meetings.
And in fact, later that day,
meeting on
how to avoid you.
And 10 minutes to
get this. And when it was all over, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but we're lining up by the parking garage, waving at each of them as they come out at the end of our deal. And here comes Adrienne Rollins out, and we're all waving, Adrienne! And she just, head down, going straight out. But, we went in to see him. Ron Durbin says, okay, well, I need to schedule an appointment with Adrienne Rollins. Well, we can't... we really can't facilitate. Okay, just give me your email so I can. Well, we can't give that out. And he said, really, that's freedom of information request. That's open records law. Get me to HR. I'm going to do it. Well, so
probably online already.
Yeah.
Even.
So they give him to HR. HR then says, well, we got to send that up to legal. Well, what does legal say? Well, they ain't getting back to you. They're ignoring it. And I'm like, really? And he says to this guy, who's the same guy I've been talking to outside camping out. And he says, well, ask him something. He says, I'm not going to answer that. And he said, who are you? And the guy puts his hand over his security badge, his ID badge.
Because he said he was legal.
Because he's breaking the law. He cannot hide his badge while he's there. That's part of open records.
Right.
Okay.
Oh boy.
And so he's violating the law, and now he's obstructing.
Don't worry.
An attempt.
He certainly will be punished, David.
To enforce it. Yes. And so Ron Durbin gets him on all of this stuff. And here's the thing: we were nice all day. I mean, the whole time there was no shouting. There was no shouting. And we had probably 150 of us there. And scared the Jesus out of them because to them, oh my God, the potheads are in the front yard.
Any reaction?
Well, where were you, David Vance? Where were you?
They're not used to actual customers showing up.
To David's point, people don't do this.
Right.
And it freaks them out when something like this happens. Now, here's Durbin's point at the end. Says, you know what? today was important because today was our attempt to be nice. Now get ready. Oklahoma Health Department, OMMA.
Yep.
You will not believe what's coming at you.
Well, they should.
I'm just telling you now. So when it happens, you say, my God, we should have listened.
They should be scared because you have the lawful, legal, constitutional authority as a citizen to remove them.
Yeah.
They are supposed to work for you.
Yeah.
And represent you. You have, I mean, they should be terrified.
Yeah.
They should be.
You have that ability and you're exercising it, and you very well looks like you're going to execute on it.
And they should expect, I mean, the only thing that they have right to expect is prison for their criminal acts that they have been committing. Because each one of these people working at these agencies, OMMA, every single person working at OMMA has committed criminal acts. Because every single one of them is participating in an illegal
Do you know
scheme.
all of them, David?
No, I don't know any of them.
At
But,
least 14 days in some community service.
No, on the level of state government, and guys, I'm going to want your help on this.
Okay.
Okay, the types of law. We have constitutional law, right?
Right.
That's the top. And then you have statutory law.
Right.
Right? And then you have agency rules, and then administrative code.
Right.
And I'm trying to think what else. I wish Amanda Teagarden was here. She's
I mean, you have your board rulings and your commission rulings and things like that as well.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
So here's the thing. When something isn't fleshed out and made clear by the Constitution, you've got a statute. And then when it's not in a statute, the agency has some latitude to create rules that are consistent with that for the carrying out of it.
I don't think that's the case in Oklahoma.
No, actually, this is the problem. This is the problem with where we're at, because we think that's the way it should be, and sadly in Oklahoma, our state constitution is written so badly that these agencies, boards, and commissions actually have extra legislative powers. In other words, they have powers to legislate outside of the legislature.
They
dictating.
tell the legislator how it's going to be.
Exactly. That's
Not
why
the
Scott
other way
Beckett
around.
had problems when he's talking to the agency, because the agency
They're
can
all
just thumb their nose at him.
autocracy.
So
all
you're-
500 state agencies are autocratic and operate as their own governments with their own courts. It's completely bizarre, completely unacceptable, and a mess.
So let's get back to David's question.
And here's where our legislature's gone. They said, unless we overrule you at next session, whatever you said, we're going to accept that as the law.
Right. And that they can't
sheriff.
do, because that was never put to a vote.
Okay.
And the other thing that we have accepted, we accept this at the federal level as well as at the state level, and that is that the legislatures, Congress or the state legislatures, somehow can delegate their legislative authority to the board or commission or whatever.
Why not?
And the thing is that is anathema to every aspect of our government.
Okay, so I did that little exercise with you guys' input for this reason.
Okay.
Because once you don't have constitutional clarity on things like how a license is supposed to be renewed, you don't have statutory law that, and it goes down to agency rules, which are published like months in advance, then you got this administrative code. And the problem is here, today I got with some people who were in the process of renewing. Some of them had emails that had certain language on them about what their policy is with their screw-ups and what kind of grace period that they're giving us. Keep in mind, they're giving us grace for their screw-ups. It really should be us giving them grace for screwing up with our help.
Well, who really has the power then?
But here's the thing. They've written 4 different versions of what it is, and they don't
But remember, they
have altered the agreement. Pray they do not alter it further, David.
Yeah, but again, we may be able to, if we have to go to court, a judge may throw every one of them out, because not one of them has any more power than the next one, which contradicts it.
Which, in reality, remember, I've been saying since before 788, everything about 788 has no lawful power. because it's all unlawful.
It's a charade.
Because it's a violation of our rights.
Yeah.
It's a scheme to say no, prohibition is lawful, and we're just making some more carve outs within prohibition, but we're going to prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
But medical marijuana folks, you can have a license, and therefore we're not going to charge you as a criminal, which we really think you are. But because of medical necessity, we're going to grant you the ability. But everybody else, you're still a criminal.
Right. And here's the problem. It's under the health department, which is run by a bunch of medical people.
Which there's very little about the health department that they're doing this Constitution.
Right. And they've got God complexes.
What agency is that lost the $30 million?
Yeah.
And which one was it? The medical authority?
And was it just $30 million, or was it more?
It is the Department of Health that lost that money.
Okay. Can't find
which is different than...
No, it's State Department of Health.
State Department of Health.
It's the same one.
Okay.
And so,
lost 30 million. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just, look, this is scandal number 3. 3 years in a row, 3 scandals in a row. And the interim guy resigns. These are people who think